This is the Seven Figure Agency Podcast. Discover the strategies and techniques to grow a highly successful and profitable digital marketing agency with your host, Josh Nelson.
Today's session, we've got Patric Shannon from LeadSnap with us. We're going to be talking about some great strategies on how you can land more clients with heat maps and some of the great software that they've developed at LeadSnap. But before we dive in, Patric, I would love to just get to know you a little bit and kind of share with the listeners and the viewers kind of your background and how you got into this space.
Yeah, for sure. I had kind of like a unusual story. You know, I started out as a tax. My first job out of college was actually in SEO in like 2001. And then I worked as a tax accountant, started playing poker on the weekend with my friends. And, over the next year or so, I actually transitioned from being a tax accountant to a professional poker player. So I spent 10 years, I moved to Vegas, spent 10 years playing professional poker and kind of got sick of it. And, they had banned online poker, then they legalized it in Nevada. So I started playing online and I was using this spreadsheet to try to track the other players. And, at some point I was like, you know what, I'm tired of playing cards. I had done well. So I started to learn how to build a website. So I built a kind of like a poker note-taking tool and got into software. And then spent the next few years as a software engineer doing like Android and iPhone applications, which leads to business owners asking you to build them app and websites. And I realized, the way I'm building these sites, they're not going to bring business to these business owners. So I got to learn marketing. So I started a marketing agency really focused around like lead generation. And that was around 2014. And over the next few years, we were trying to use different tools and we were really frustrated with what was out there. So we just started building something internally with no plans of it one day being something we were going to sell. And I was actually at a mastermind event in maybe like 2017. And someone was asking me like, hey, how do you solve this problem? And I said, well, we built something internally. And then I showed it to them and they said, well, can I like pay you to use this? And it was like, oh, wait, this could be a business. I had no idea, so we launched it in like 2020 and so it's been 3 years. We've had it now and it's really helped our agency grow a ton. So everything, we were very much in the trenches. This wasn't a software company that was kind of like trying to build something. We were trying to build something for ourselves to make our lives easier. And then it's really been cool to see agencies adopt it and embrace the platform, for what we built over the last, I guess, 6 years or so. Yeah.
Sounds great. So talk to us a little bit about your agency. Like, do you have a niche that you work in? What's the approximate size? Kind of talk to us about that. And I love the fact that you built this to help grow your agency, solve the problem. You're like, man, there's other agencies that can benefit from this. And now you've got a bunch of agencies using this. And you're going to be sharing this with our listeners today.
Yeah. So we started out kind of all over the place, maybe like a lot of agencies do. And then, I had someone out to work on our pool. And then I discovered the concrete coatings niche. So we went into that. We have a little bit different style business, or at least we started that way, where we were building the sites and owning them and then selling the leads. So like more of a lead generation, rank and rent type business. So I think we got up to 40K after about 2 years. I think our high point was $115,000 a month. So we spent a lot of time taking them, kind of like robbing the agency to fund the software, which, I'm really proud to have it self-funded, but, you can't pay attention to two things at once. So, we receded with our agency and, that's actually why I joined Seven Figure Agency is to kind of like, hey, I want to get this machine back up and running. But so I have about 400 sites that I own. Most of them are in concrete coatings. And then, we have about 1,000 Google business profiles across the United States. So we've been using our platform to manage this stuff, especially when you're in lead generation, you need to have a real pulse on what opportunities you're creating to make sure that you're giving your clients what they're paying for. And, you're not giving them too little or too much, right? Either one could be wrong. And then the management of all those Google business profiles and their rankings and getting the reviews. So we've kind of built it based out of, like you said, based out of our needs for our agency.
Love it. Love it. So guys, give me a 1 in the comments if you're excited to kind of see this and kind of learn the technique that Patric is using to build interest and land clients using some of this technology. 1 in the comments, we get a little engagement going. And Patric, I'm going to let you run with this. I think the best use of this time is just to let you show it, kind of educate the group, answer questions as we go, and make it awesome.
Yeah, awesome.
Right,
yeah,
lots of ones coming in. Everybody's excited.
Okay, cool. I really appreciate the opportunity to show this to you guys. It's been my baby, and I've seen it just impact so many different agencies, and like where I'm at now, that's the most rewarding part for this, is to kind of see what we have done help people, and it's helped a lot of people. So I think you guys are going to love this. But I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and walk you through it. And if somebody can just let me know in the comments. Uh-oh, is this not sharing now? Okay, there we go. Can someone just type in if they can see my screen? Maybe just throw a 2 into the chat for me if you guys can see my screen.
Yep, it's up there now.
Still waiting on it, and maybe why I'm waiting to make sure. Uh-oh, is this thing crashing on me?
We are seeing the screen. It's just a little bit blurry.
I can't tell if I'm still live. Can someone throw a 2 in the chat if they can still see me here? Sorry guys, we're using the restream thing, and I don't know if it's telling me that my tab is unresponsive.
Yeah, we're seeing your screen, okay. And it's all working.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I guess it was just lagging there for a second. Okay, like I would love to hear from you guys as I go through this. Some of the stuff, some of the problems that you guys are really looking to solve in your agency, whether that be kind of the client management or possibly the ranking of the Google business profiles, the management of those, maybe the closing clients, right? Prospecting, because there's pieces in here that can help. That can really help for all these different parts. But I know for a lot of you guys, landing clients, that's the first thing we want to do. And that's something that we're going to stick with our entire agency. So this platform has been exceptional for not only helping grow my agency from landing clients, but I've also taught the strategy that I'm going to lay out for you guys here to a lot of other agencies. And the results have just been absolutely tremendous. So this is LeadSnap, so you can find it at leadsnap.com. It's a full-blown CRM. We have reputation management. We have a lot of automation type stuff in here so that you can build out some complex workflows that are based on triggers and conditions, such as like when a form submission comes in, to maybe send a text message, right? Or maybe send a text message if it's from a certain zip code or a collection of zip codes, then I want to send something out. So we've got a lot of these kind of like automations, which are great for reputation management. We have our GeoGrid tool. A lot of people love this tool. It can really give us an understanding of how our Google business profile is showing up in Google, how we're ranking. Not quite sure if this is my internet slowing down here, but the system is normally really, really snappy, which is one of the things people love. Give me 1 second. There we go. I don't know what was going on there. So this, for instance, is a HVAC company in San Diego. So this would be how their rankings will show up inside the heat map. Man, I hate to see this thing running slow at this time. So basically, we're going to get a map, and it's going to tell us our ranking at these different spots around town. I think I'm having some internet issues here or something. We might have to switch to my phone. Okay, there we go. Okay, so you guys probably have seen GeoGrid stuff like this in the past. One thing that you may notice is unique with this one is that the shape is not a square. So you can really dial in your rankings to the exact area that you want. I'll get into this a little bit more as we go through this. We also have the ability to manage our Google business profiles. So if you've got, like us, we have a big agency, there's 2 test ones in here, but I can come in here and I can manage the different parts, whether that be responding to reviews, making posts, adding photos, stuff like this. We have a huge coaching library in here. As Josh mentioned, I have run a decent sized agency for many years, and I've basically distilled our playbook on all sorts of stuff that we're doing. And this is just kind of included with someone that has a subscription. You can see there's 30 or 40 videos here on Google Business Profile strategies for photos and how to improve rankings, all sorts of different things, hiring, what the lead gen business model is. We have some stuff that is kind of designated towards LeadSnap, mindsets. So I've done quite a bit of coaching with agencies to try to help them out. And this software and this library has kind of been a part of that for them. We have our own phone system in here too. So you can make and receive calls directly from within our platform. So you can make outgoing calls on your phone that are triggered. So if I wanted, for instance, to trigger something for this bear removal company, I could dial this phone number and have it take place. And then I could say, hey, I want that to take place on my phone. So it would call my phone. I would press 1, and then it would call the customer. But what would show up is the tracking number for them. And we can receive those calls in here as well. So in my agency, we for the clients, we own sites that we don't have clients for. So we have them this can serve as a sort of like a call center functionality. So we can create the IVRs as well. And we can build out some complex workflows on our phone system directly from within the platform. Maybe I want to play a greeting message for a minute, and then I'm going to go in and dial a few different people. So I can dial maybe these 3 people. One will be answered in the browser phone. This maybe is one of my clients and I'll just choose this David Gonzalez guy. I'll choose this person who is going to answer in the browser, and then I can just enter a phone number here. So a lot of functionality built into the phone system. I'm just going to kind of skip through this a little bit, and then I'm going to let you guys dictate the direction we go in. I'm going to spend some time talking about how we can use this system to close clients, which has been really, really effective. We also have a reporting module. So we just launched this module, so you can build out branded reports, and then you can have those sent out to your clients. So if I wanted to create a template here, I have different cover photos that I can use in styles, but maybe I want to send out a report with all the phone calls that have taken place for this company. And I could come through here and choose a different cover photo, upload my own logo, a lot of different styles. And then you can have this report get sent out to them with all this information at whatever frequency you want. And you can actually set this up where it requires approval before it goes out to the distribution list as well. So this system you can make as many users as you want, and you have a ton of control over what the user can see. So I could give them permissions. So you can kind of see this will follow CRM, and then automations and automation. So I can turn things on and off on a very granular level. You also have the ability to completely white label the system. So I could white label this. And for instance, this would be the login page. I could change this login page right through here. I could come in and change the branding. You can kind of see we've gone, for whatever reason, we've gone with this kind of like Halloween looking theme. But this is the logo right there. So I can easily go in and change that. And once I log in, there's no connection to LeadSnap. Like no one would ever be able to tell. And you could combine this with kind of turning the stuff on and off. You can see this is on a different domain. Add in whatever domain you want, and then completely change the branding in so many different ways throughout the system. So that's kind of like the high level overview of this. You can authenticate your own emails in here. So how does this differ from high level? I see a question coming in. So I guess they're like a direct competitor with us. Of the people that have moved from our platform to high level, some of the things that they've liked about it is, hey, it's way more intuitive. I guess that high level has at times maybe struggled with some like bugs. I think, we haven't heard that. That's not a common issue for us. I've also heard some people that are frustrated with the support time. So I know we have a chat window down here in the lower right. I think our average support chat response time is 6 minutes. Our average ticket time is 2 hours. So we're very much like focused on the delivery of a very high quality product. We don't have some of the functionality that they have. We do have some functionality that they don't have. So for instance, we don't have the ability to build the funnels. Like I know a lot of you guys like being able to build the funnels inside. We don't have that, but we can connect with things like ClickFunnels and these other platforms. We have a WordPress plugin, so anything that is built in WordPress can be sucked into our platform immediately. We have all this Google My Business Management stuff, heat maps, the management, the scheduling of posts, stuff like this. Our phone system, I think, is a little bit more extensive than theirs. And then, there's just like differences here and there throughout. But yeah, that's a common comparison that people have lined us up with is high level. So so I see, when are you giving us the iframe option? I'm not exactly sure what part of the system you want the iframe for. So if you could just kind of like specify that. But let me take you through some of the strategies that have been absolutely killer for landing clients. So I'd love to hear if you guys throw in the chat, if you guys have closed a client in the past, just throw in like heat map. If you guys have closed one of your clients in the past, taking advantage of the GeoGrids. If you haven't done that, I think you're missing a huge opportunity because of how easy it is and how visual these heat maps are. It really does something magical when you show this to a client and they see their business and how they're ranking kind of in black and white or in red and green, right? So it is absolutely a killer strategy. And if you kind of go to leadsnap.com and just scroll down, some of you guys will probably know some of the people that are on these testimonials. I think there's maybe 100 of them, but it's just one person after another talking about how they have closed people. This, I think, is actually Adam McChesney here. He grew a big agency. Maybe some of you guys know him. He's spoken at some of these industry events, but it's one person after another that is using this strategy to close clients. So this is a simple strategy, but it is very, very powerful. And we can expand on this. First, I'm going to give you kind of the one-to-one version of how this can go. And I'm just going to pretend to pitch a guy who has an HVAC company named Josh. That's what we'll go with. We'll start out with this guy, Josh, who owns this HVAC company. So the strategy is I'm going to do a little research and I'm going to go and find a company that I'm interested in pitching. So we'll pretend it's this HVAC San Diego King that's owned by Josh. So this is a heat map that we've run for an HVAC contractor. It's going to be very easy, even if Josh is not a techie person and he's really focused on his, swapping out these air conditioners and this type of thing. It's going to be really simple for Josh to understand that how ranking for the term HVAC contractor is going to be super beneficial for his business. So this is what I would do is I would find the company that I want to pitch. So we run the heat map for them. We've got the list of averages. So what this is the scores from this heat map down here, and I can rank them. So I'm going to rank these by the top average score. So we can actually see that 5 Diamond Mechanical has the lowest average, 12.7. That's their average score. If I click on this, it will actually flip the map. So this is 5 Diamond Mechanical's map, right? If I were to click on this, we'll go out to what is Josh's company here, and we can see that they have 163 reviews, which is great. I can actually click here to go to their website, and I'm going to do this a little bit of research on Josh before I go and I prepare this, and I'm actually going to try to create a conversation with him. So most of these companies that like this looks like a pretty big company in San Diego, so they have a Facebook page. So what I could do is I could go. That button is not working on their page for whatever reason, but I would go out and I would find their Facebook page and probably send them a message. I could even call them, but basically my first step is let me initiate a conversation. If I have their email address, I can send them an email, and I can actually send them an email with, maybe a picture of their site. And then that loads into this video where I go and I talk to them. So one of the things that we need to make clear to Josh is that, hey, Josh, this is for the Google Business Profile area. So if I were to do HVAC contractor San Diego, then we can see that these are showing up. So we don't know where on the map Google decided to select this random search when we do it this way. When we look at the heat map, we can see how things change all over town. So I would say, hey, Josh, it looks like you guys have been in business for 11 years, and it's obvious that you guys really care about your customer because I see that you have 163 reviews. You guys are killing it. And there's a lot of strategies that we can do to improve your rankings. Unfortunately, with reviews like this, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be the best ranking company. Google ranks things, they consider reviews, but they don't, but it's not true that just because you're the best at what you do in San Diego means that you're going to rank the best. So I have some strategies to help you out. And I just want to go over a couple of these. So this area right here is called the Google Business Profile area, Josh. And this is where most of the business happens. They speculate that between 50 and 70% of the clicks are happening in these three spots. Everything else is split up here. This is the Google Guaranteed or Google, this is an ad section. A lot of people see this sponsored stuff. They don't really like it so much. So they come down here to the stars. It's more visual. And then down here is the organic. So more than half of the traffic is clicking on this spot in most local service niches. This tool that we have will show us how we rank in this area as we move across town. So as you can see, as we move across town, the rankings change pretty quickly, right? So over here, if someone had searched near 5 points, you guys would be ranking second. But outside of this area, like up here in Mission Beach, you guys are ranking 6th. So I'll tell you how this works is if you're not one of these first 3, then you might as well be like being 4 is very similar to being 20, right? The big increase in business is when you go from 4 to 3. So you can kind of see how you guys are doing. You have some spots in this heart of San Diego. You guys are doing great. But out here outside of that, there are tremendous opportunities. And I'll show you who's ranking best. So maybe when you guys are working, you guys have driven around and you've seen 5 Diamond Mechanical. So this is the #1 company in town, right? This is how they rank. Like San Diego is a big area and it's competitive. So no one is really like dominating this. They have an average score across this map of 12 and you guys are at 14. So you guys, maybe the pitch that you want to give will actually be, maybe I want to try to pitch one of these guys that's a little bit down the pecking line. Like maybe we want to pretend that Josh owns this Coronado company, right? So that way we can really find someone that we have the ability to twist the knife. And I would absolutely mention the name of the company. So I would mention, hey, maybe you've seen 5 Diamond Mechanical. And then I'm going to go. So now we've kind of like established that there is a problem, that they're not ranking so well. And it's very easy for them to see how they rank across this town. Okay, so if once they know there's a problem, now we need to build trust. So they kind of say, hey, if you're going to close a sale, they need to trust you. They need to believe that you can give them an outcome, and they need to like you. So we have put them in the position where they know there's a problem. Now we have to build trust. So how can we do that? Well, the way that we can do that is we can start to give them examples on how they can improve the rankings. And guys, don't be afraid to give away the farm, but don't get buried in the tech weeds of like backlinks and stuff like this. That's not what they want to hear. We can give them some really basic instructions. They are not going to have this like entrepreneurial seizure where it's like an HVAC person that decides to be an SEO master. They're going to look at this and be like, this guy really knows what he's talking about. And he's painted it for me very clearly. I need to figure out how I can fix this situation. And I'll tell you guys, the power of this is most business owners, not all, but most business owners are competitive by nature. And when they see that they're getting demolished by some of these other competitors that maybe they've seen their trucks driving around town, it kind of gives them the logical justification that they need, that they say, hey, we need logic and we need emotion. So it gives them the logic and the emotion. So it really shifts them into this like buying decision and this buying mindset. So here's what I would do is I would come in here and I would make this go full screen and I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to start to give them some strategies. Okay. So I can tell Josh that you are, I bet your business location is maybe over here because you're going to rank the best closest to wherever you set up that Google business profile. Some of the strategies that we can use, and I would use this antenna strategy, this antenna analogy that I always give, and you guys are free. Take this for yourself if you want it. So if you think about your Google business profile, wherever you set up as an antenna, wherever that antenna is the closest, that's where the signal is going to be the strongest. That's something that an HVAC guy can understand, right? Now, as we get more reviews, it's like the antenna gets taller. As we add more photos to our Google business profile, the antenna gets taller. As we add content to our website and we get links from other strong websites that kind of vouch that say our website is an important site, the antenna gets taller. So, and we can decide, we can use this to build out our local game plan of how we're going to improve this. So if Google is trying to serve up the most relevant content to you, Josh, well, wouldn't it make sense if we told Google about this Barrio Logan? What if we had like a little page on our website that talked about Barrio Logan, and then Google decides like, hey, who is most relevant that talks about HVAC that also serves Barrio Logan? What if we run a post? So there's an opportunity within our Google business profile to make a post. What if we said, hey, we're having a special this week in Barrio Logan, where if you get a new if you get maintenance on your air conditioner, you get $50 off or whatever, something like this. So we're putting in the keywords that we want to build relevance to, and we're putting in the geolocation, right? So we are telling Josh exactly what he needs to do to improve his rankings. He's not going to go do it. He doesn't know how to, and he's busy with his HVAC stuff, right? But you are establishing yourself as an authority when you do this. And it is kind of ironclad when they see this. So I'd love to hear from you guys what your thoughts are on this. Do you guys see the power of what this can be? Because I'll tell you, this has been lights out for me closing people in my business. The way that we're going to present this is by just creating a little screencast video. So you could use Loom, Vimeo, all sorts of different platforms like this. So some of you guys probably have these conversations that are happening already. Maybe you already have your pipeline filled up. And I'll tell you, if you introduce this as a part of your sales cycle, you're going to see the conversions go up and the time to close is going to go up, because you can put this right in front of them. What's really cool about this too is I can actually share this link. So I can copy this and then I can go into here. I'm in incognito, so I'm not actually logged into LeadSnap right now. I've just copied this link and I still have all this functionality. So I can click on any one of these nodes and I can see the rankings, and I could click to flip the heat map. So they could cycle through and see how all their competitors are ranking. So the top 3 will tell us what percentage of the time they're in the top 3. So this person, 5 Diamond Mechanical, has the most, and they're in the top 3 like 18% of the time, essentially. So really, really, oh, it's not sharing the incognito. Oh, shoot. Thanks for the heads up. 1 second, guys. Yeah, so it's going to be hard. I guess I would have to like stop sharing and then reshare in this restream thing. I don't 100% trust this trust this thing to go through the sharing. But my point is, you can essentially share this. It will remove the sidebar here, so they won't have the functionality to run another heat map, but they will have the functionality to kind of like dive into this. So you can share this with a video or as a part of an email. You can include this and include this link, and then they can play with it, or you can download a PDF and send that to them. This heat map is really good for like 3 reasons. Number 1 is prospecting. Like, you guys can absolutely crush it with this when you're trying to close somebody, right? The closing deal is part of it. The second is, if you guys are managing and you've got like reports that need to be sent out to your clients on a monthly basis, showing them this stuff is great. We've set this up so if we look over time, I'm going to kind of flip back here, and we can see that these are a collection of terms that I've run for, right? So this is for HVAC contractor, where the average is a 14.45 for this company. This is for furnace installation, we're a 17. So I can see all these different heat maps that I've run with these terms. And then up here, I've got the average of the averages. So this is on average, I'm in the top 5% of the time. And my average score is 14.64. So I know how I'm performing. And this is great because I can show this to our clients over time. And you can see that we've got the reviews here. So this was run on March 31st. So if I run another one and they have more reviews, it will kind of lock that in. So this kind of pairs really well with our reputation management, where we can show, hey, here is the reviews that have come in. This is what the reviews were on this date. This is what they are now. And we can kind of see how that's improving our ranking. So really, really powerful. So this is kind of the one-to-one strategy. The next strategy I'm going to go to is kind of like building on this. So if you guys are in Facebook industry groups, then this can, and you got to kind of be, you got to be careful with the strategy. You need to warm up the group. So let's imagine that I go into a Facebook group for HVAC contractors. While I'm bringing this up, I'd love to see, is anyone in the chat have any questions or anything about any of the stuff I showed so far? I'll be watching for you there. Let me know, and I'd be happy to answer those. All right, just give me 1 second. I'm going to pull up Facebook, and I'm in the concrete coatings niche, so I'm going to bring up a concrete site, a concrete group. Okay, cool. So this is a concrete group, and you would have to, you can't just come in here cold. You want to warm up the group. So provide some value to the group. So this is what we call the Trojan horse method. And this method, there was a guy that's in our group named Spencer, and he was stuck at $10,000 a month for, I think, about 2 years. He couldn't really crack the nut on loading up that prospecting pipeline. And he took the strategy. I think he booked like 14 different appointments within the first week of using the strategy. And he shot up from like 10K to 40K. And then kind of things broke with his fulfillment, which is a problem that effective prospecting strategies will cause for you, as it will break fulfillment. But, that's just a part of the agency journey, right? So here's what you do is you kind of go through, you understand this group, you find out who in here are maybe the most popular, the most active, the biggest contributors, the biggest following. And then you kind of nominate those people as the person that you're going to target. The reason that you want to deliver this pitch to them is not necessarily for them, but it's because when they respond to it, that's probably going to notify the most people in the group. So here's what you do is you come up with something. And the key here is to not sound like a marketer. The key is to sound like you're giving a gift. This is why we call it the Trojan horse method. So I could take the pitch that I just gave, right, for Josh's HVAC company, but instead I find whoever it is. We'll pretend it's this Tim Peterson guy who runs a concrete company. And I go and I do research on Tim Peterson, and I find out what his company is. And I run this heat map on him, and then I come back and my post is going to look something like this. Hey, Tim, you have made this group better, and it's a part of our mission to try to give back. So I appreciate everything you have done to improve this group and help people out. So I want to just give you some advice on what's worked for us and our agency. And then you run through this. You're talking about him and his competitors, and you're demonstrating your command over how to improve this Google business profile. One of the things that I would probably do is I would switch over to the phone system or whatever phone system you're using. Guys, you guys don't have to obviously use LeadSnap. If you're using a different GeoGrid tool, you can run the same strategy. With us, I would go over to the phone calls that have come in, and I would say, look, Tim Peterson, you have your concrete company in Dallas. I want to show you what we did in Houston. So I would show all the phone calls that we've created. I would show our Google business profile ranking in Houston so that they can draw that one-to-one line. So typically this will look like if we're ranking really well in a city like Houston, especially this time of year in concrete coatings, there might be 250 phone calls that are coming in. So I show those. And then I say, hey, Tim, like I said, I don't want anything from this. I just want to try to give back. So what's going to happen is Tim is going to see this, which is great, but everybody else in the group is going to see this as well. And the key is start this presentation where you're like focused on this heat map, because this will draw people in. People will want to know what this is, right? So if the video that is posted and dropped into the group starts with this, then you will suck in a lot of other people. And this is how Spencer, who I was mentioning, got all these connections here and I would introduce some scarcity as a part of this. Say, look, I wanted to give this back to you, and I'd be willing to do this for 2 other people, but these things take time, and it's not our, I want to make sure that I help people, but it's, this was a gift. So you're trying to pattern interrupt and distance yourself from this idea that you're a marketer, right? But people are going to chase after you when you get this in front. So a couple of things to be wary about. You have to have, if you guys position this as you're a marketer, then you might get kicked out of the group, or the post might get removed. The admin is not going to like it. If you position this as a gift and you're teaching and you're just providing value, you're still going to have the same reaction from people that are interested in it. People are going to ask you how you do these things. Like if I were to drop for you guys some like crazy SEO strategy into some group where you guys could all see it, like you guys are going to want to ask follow-up questions and chase me down because you want that information. It's the same thing with these guys. It's an opportunity for them to boost their business. So yeah, that is what we call the Trojan horse strategy. From here, you can obviously connect it a lot of different ways. You could have these people going into some kind of follow-up sequence. I would probably take them into a Facebook chat and then have that conversation right there. Get them onto a strategy call. Give them value, and you will see how this completely changes the sales process when you lead with this value and you're coming from, like, most of these people, their reaction is like, I've never seen something like this before, and they instantly understand how this can help them. What kind of clients did this work better for? Home services? Yeah, I think this is going to work a lot better for the home services niche. With the attorneys, I've never done it, but I think it will work for all niches. I'm not in the attorney niche. I don't know if there's regulations, like when we're talking about the reviews and the strategy for getting reviews. So in the home services niche, those are a lot easier to kind of like make those things happen. As we start to get into attorneys, then there's all kinds of like regulations and rules, and like attorneys can't say they're the best. And so I'm sure there's a way to dance around that. I just don't have that experience with this, but I think getting this visualization in front of somebody's, like, attorneys are super competitive people, right? That's just like built into their DNA for the most part. When they see that they're getting outranked by another attorney, it's going to light a fire inside of them, and they're going to want to do something about it. And that's kind of that's one of the big benefits of this, is to be able to show this to them and kind of like light that fire under there for them. So yeah. You guys have any other questions? Anything else I can answer for you guys? Are you guys liking this? Do you guys see? I would love to see some engagement on this, because this right here, guys, if you implement this into place, it can be an absolute game changer for your agency. I've just seen it dozens and dozens of times. So for those people that are struggling with this, I highly recommend giving this a shot. Yes, it's good to see. It's good to see that we're getting a little bit of interaction there. Awesome. All right. So you guys, I can take you through some other features in here, but that was the first thing that I really wanted to lay out for you guys. One of the cool things for the person that was asking about the about like how we differ from some of the other competitors, we have these amazing spam filters. So if you connect your site through WordPress, or you use one of our embed forms to drop in a form on your site, we can pretty much eliminate 99.8% of form submission spam. So in my agency, I think this thing blocks maybe 1,200 messages a day. And it's been over 2 years since we've had a real message. The reason that these are so effective is, instead of looking at the reputation of a server, what we do is we look at the patterns that exist. So for instance, this will look for a URL in a message that's coming in. So for instance, if someone says, no one is ever going to send a message that's like, hey, I need someone to come out and check my toilet. Also check out my website. That's never going to be like a real local lead. So we can look for that, and we can look for that URL. And if it's in there, we can mark it as spam. In the United States and Canada, phone numbers don't start with a plus sign or a 0. So we can look for those patterns. And if they put those into the phone number field, then we can mark it as spam if those are checked. We can also use keyword spotting and phrases. So if I put Bitcoin in here and someone mentions Bitcoin as a part of their message, then I can block it. But I can use a phrase too. So if I'm trying to like bring on new clients for SEO services, well, they're never going to send a message that says SEO for your website. So I can look for that phrase. You guys have probably got that thing multiple times a week. So we can just block that out pretty quickly. And then we have domain filtering. So these next two really look at the email address. So if it ends in spammer.com, or like this will block out the entire domain. So john@spammer.com or dave@spammer.com. And this one will block out individual email addresses. So like spammer@gmail.com. We wouldn't want to put Gmail up here because that could potentially block those real form submissions for us. And then we can filter by country. So this is kind of the hammer. This is probably going to block over 99%. So we can pull the IP address of the person that's submitting the form, and then we can geolocate that. And so you can see I've blocked out the entire world except for Canada and the United States. So anyone that is submitting from outside of those, well, they're just automatically going to go into the spam. So that one right there will block 99%. And we can also block by language. So a lot of these guys are using VPNs and stuff like that to get through. So if they are not sending it in English or whatever language I want, then I can block it by language. So guys, it's super powerful when you put all this stuff in combination with, with each other. Put all this stuff in a blender and it's going to come out really, really, really nice. So over 99% accuracy on this once you kind of get it dialed in. So that's really cool. We've got the contact management here for reputation management. So if you want to upload a list of contacts, you can kind of completely manage this through our system here. This is a recording that's coming through. So if there had been a form submission, a text message, anything like that, I can also send email and text messages right through here. I can take notes. I can set up reminder tasks. I can add them into like one of our automation workflows through here. We have lead management. So you can bend and twist this lead management part of it as much as you want, adding in different columns, filtering by all sorts of things. We have the option to export as a Facebook audience. Man, our internet is dragging. I can assure you that this is a fast system. But so we've got it loading up here now. There we go. So all these columns can be completely customized throughout the entire system. If you go in here, there's dashboards all over the place. So this is a dashboard for this roofing company. You can see it's connected to a Google business profile. If there had been reviews, those would show up right here. So we can manage the entire Google business profile right through our system. We followed pretty simple design patterns throughout, where it's like, if you're on a company page, you can always change companies in the top right. If you're on a client dashboard, you can always change in the top right. So the client for this one is this guy, Bob Jones. So you can see up here, and then we've got everything associated. So a lot of dashboards, pretty much everything in our system is links. So it makes it really easy to get around. So if I click here, I can go right over to, to Carol's Roofing, right? And then we have the full-blown reputation management. So you can go in here and you can build out your own, build out whatever funnels that you want. And just kind of like you see, this is happening on our white label domain. So there's all the links. If you set up white label, all the links will go through the white label service. If I click on this, then I could go to whatever sites I've set up, which apparently I don't have one. Let's check out the bear removal one here. We'll preview this. It's a different one. I'll click here. You can see I've got Google and Facebook. So if I click into this, then I can go right to whatever link I've set up in there. So it's super simple to set these up where I can, add in whatever sites I want. If I want to use one of these three, or if I want to use a custom one, I can upload my own image with my own link. And then this can easily be included as a part of our automations. So for those of you guys that are coming from high level, I think you guys have snapshots. Well, we've kind of like engineered things in a way where you don't really need the snapshots. Instead, you can make things be dynamic. So let's say I want, for every client that I have, when a form submission comes in, what I want to do is I'm not going to put a filter here. So I have the option to filter by a lot of different things, but if I don't do anything, it's going to apply to every company. So I could, within just a few minutes, say, okay, whenever a form submission comes in, I'm going to send it to the contact. So the contact is the person that's submitting the form. And I could just say, hey, this is, and then I could drag over the client's name. I'll drag over the client's first name, right? And it's just going to replace that in real time with the company name. I saw that you filled out a form on my website, and then like, what are you looking to have done? That type of thing. The problem is that if we do it this way, it's going to happen immediately. Form submission submitted, instantly they get a text message. It doesn't look real. So maybe what we want to do is just wait a few minutes. So I'll just wait 4 minutes. And then instead of it looking automated, it looks like great customer service, right? So we can also include a link, like for our review funnel. If I wanted to, if this were a different request and I was, requesting a review, I include that link, and it knows what company this client is associated with it. So it knows the review funnel that's associated with this. So it just automatically includes this. And then I could wait a few days and I could follow up again. Maybe if this is a review, maybe I want to continue to follow up until they leave a review. So I can click on this and it will just follow up until a review is submitted. So it makes reputation management and getting those reviews really, really easy. It's a powerful system. We put this in place we had a towing client. Tow truck site was one of the first ones I ever built, like back in 2015, somewhere around there. And I had maybe 7 reviews, and I put an automation in place to follow up with people. So I said, hey, if it's a phone call that comes in, so I switch it off. This is almost the exact thing I set up. If a phone call comes in and the call duration is greater than or equal to 45 seconds, then I'm going to wait 4 hours and I'm going to send a review request, right? Because I know that some of the time we're going to send this out to people that had a 45-second conversation with our tower, but they didn't get it. And they're not going to be pissed off if they get a review request. But to be able to put this automation in place and so we had reviews pouring in. So after like all these years, we only had like 6 or 7 reviews. And I think we got 25 reviews our first month, right? So it all came from the system, and that improves our rankings. And then that makes it easier for us to get more reviews, and it just kind of like snowballs from there. So really, really powerful to be able to have a system like this where you can kind of like automate that review collection. One of the cool things that we have in here too, we have a connection to Google Analytics. So if you want to bring in your traffic, and this we're tying directly into our reporting. So I'll show you this in just a second here. Let's go take a look at this. So this is pulling in the real-time website data. Let's try this company. So this is pulling in the real-time website data from whatever site this is. It looks like some concrete site. I can see the pages that it's come through. I can see the users that have come through. So that we have this real-time data in here for all these different pieces directly in here. I think this is really important stuff that is often neglected, right? And we're tying this into our reports, so this can be like brought into our reports as those as we want. We're going to have custom reports and all kinds of stuff. So you can blend this stuff in. So if you're reporting to your clients on a monthly basis and we want to include our website traffic, well, you can have your website traffic in here. You can have your lead counts, your phone calls. You can have your heat map rankings. So one of the things that we're getting ready to launch, I haven't really shown this to people, but this is where we're taking this, is this kind of like reporting that's going to report on how you're ranking it. So we're turning this much more into like a rank tracker system. So if I'm tracking 23 keywords, then I can see how many of them have decreased, how many have increased, how many are holding steady, what the average score is across my keywords, how often I'm in the top 3, right? What the change looks like over 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And then I could dive into an individual keyword, right? And I could see that, hey, this is for this term, landscaping services. I can select different keywords here. And then I could see a time lapse, or so I could select these different times, or maybe I want to do some comparison. We already have the compare stuff live in our system, which is great as a part of that prospecting. I probably should have mentioned that. You can use this as a reporting tool to show changes over time to your client, or as that prospecting method, right? So you've got a lot of different stuff in here. You also can look at trends for keywords over time. So if I want to see how this landscaping services has changed over time, I can see that right here, and I can look at it for an average score, or how much time am I in the top 3%, right? And just like with the other one, I can flip to all these different businesses. So really, really powerful stuff coming in here with the reporting. Okay, so where are we at? We're at 51 after. You guys got any questions on any of this stuff? All right. Cool. So you guys, you have the ability to, with this system, just like with some of these other platforms, if you want to sell this to someone else, since you have the option to white label it, and you can completely remove, LeadSnap branding from it. Well, you could sell this as its own software, just like you're the SaaS founder, right? There's nothing to stop you from doing that. We have a lot of users that are taking advantage of that right now. So that's certainly a great opportunity. From like a GMB for those of you guys that are struggling with the ranking of the Google My Businesses, this tool has made a huge difference for us, this part of it. So what we've done, just like some of these other tools, you have the option to manage the details, and we can come through and respond to any reviews, reply to those reviews. We can respond to those questions and answers. So if someone poses a question, then I can come through and type a response right through here. This is an opportunity from a ranking standpoint anyone can pose a question, right? So does your company, does your HVAC company do like tankless water heaters if I'm trying to rank for that? Like, and then I respond like, yes, we've installed a lot of tankless water heaters in Mission Bay, and I can name off the different parts so I can build that relevant. So questions, I think, is an underutilized area that, can influence your ranking, just like the Google post. So with the Google post, we can come through here, we can look at our past posts, and we can create a new post. I can schedule this post. If I want to schedule a post for next week, they last about a week, right? So, and I can set this up as a recurring post. So maybe I want this to recur once a week, and I want to do it 5 times, right? So it's going to go once a week for 5 times. So that way we have this post that's going live inside that Google Business Profile every week, which is great to show that activity. And we could see the insights data of the actual whatever's happening on our Google Business Profile, like what is the search through the desktop or mobile, right? What are branded searches? And then the actions that people are taking. This isn't a real Google Business Profile, so our data is a little, I don't know who these people are that are visiting it. But you can kind of see the different views that are out there, as well as like if there's driving directions, you can see phone calls. There's no calls because there's no phone number on this one. And then a breakdown of searches. So like, those keywords there can be seen right here of like how people are actually arriving at our Google Business Profile. So a lot of stuff in there, and then you can get notified in real time. So I don't know if any of you guys, if this has happened, if this has happened, does to you where like someone makes a suggestion on one of your Google Business Profiles or your clients that it's closed, and then you find out later and like for whatever reason Google decided that they're actually going to believe that suggestion. Well, you can get notified in real time here, and you can go in and say, hey, don't take that suggestion, or get notified that maybe a profile got suspended. So a lot of different valuable information in here. One of the things that we added that I haven't seen in other platforms yet is this ability to schedule photos. So if I come through here and I want to schedule some photos, give me 1 second. Oops. There we go. All right. So I'm going to drop in some photos in here. Just give me 1 second here, guys. My window closed on me. All right. So I'm going to drop in, I guess 2 photos here. And you'll see, oops, for some reason, I already added those. It's not going to let you add the same photo. Okay. So I've got this photo here, but imagine I've dropped in like a whole boatload. Maybe I dropped in like 50 landscaping photos for my landscaper. And right here, I can select the category. So maybe I want to make this like an exterior photo, right? And then I can rename it right here. So this could be landscaping services, Mission Bay, whatever area we're trying to target. And then I could add in those keywords there as well. And maybe I want this. So if I want this to be in San Diego, so I can come in here and I can choose San Diego, California. All right, we'll choose this spot right here. And then I can drag this around and it will change the coordinates as I do this. So I can click on apply. And now I've just geotagged my photo right there. And if I've got a bunch of these, so if, let's say I've got like 50 photos in there and I don't want to add them all at once. Instead, I want to add 1 photo every 7 days. So I can go through and I can schedule this. Maybe the first one. So if I had multiple ones, it's going to go through and schedule these out for all my photos. So it's going to just drip them over time onto that Google Business Profile, showing like a ton of activity and action, right? So very cool. Do you white label your services as well as the software? So so I own the software, so I don't white label it myself, but there is the white label functionality built in here. Do you have clients that use Go High Level and your software, or they are kind of redundant? So I would say that Go High Level is probably our most direct competitor. I think we have, I can't guess, but maybe 70, 80% of the same functionality as they do. And then we have stuff that they don't have, and we have stuff they don't have. So a lot of those same things that you're doing, if you're using High Level, they're present in here. We've got the pipeline systems that you can use, and triggers that can happen on this. You have the option to create that like nurturing sequence for leads directly through our automations. I don't have anyone that is using it. That is also using High Level. I think a lot of times my experience has been if the person isn't too entrenched and they're frustrated with how to get high level set up, and they come in here and I think they find things are a little bit easier to set up. I've heard the feedback multiple times where, hey, I've spent a lot of time trying to understand this, and I hired someone from India and I knew how this works. So it's usually one or the other, but the way that I would use them together, if you're like in that camp where you're kind of entrenched, is we've got the Google Business Profile Management, the heat maps, and the phone system. I think are things that are going to be very different from what's available from within high level. Okay, cool. So let's see, not the easiest to get to the top 3 though. How do you get the hard ones? So I guess the question is, how do you improve your rankings for the Google Business Profile in the tough areas? So you're going to need more of a lot of things, right? Like citations are, we're about to launch our citation like scraping tool and the ability you're going to want to get those in there. You want to make sure that your profile is fully optimized. It may make sense if you're covering a huge area like San Diego. So like if this were my client, what I would probably want to do is I would probably, especially if they have multiple crews. So, I mean, this is a huge populated area. So what am I going to do? It may be really hard to rank one Google Business Profile across this whole thing. So what if we set up a second crew, a second location, since we know our rankings are going to be the best near where we set things up. So you look at a company like Domino's or something like that, where it's Domino's.com and they have Google Business Profiles all over the United States, right? For representing like different storefronts. Well, it's kind of like gets a little grayish is you can have these different crews. Maybe this crew handles installations and this one handles this other thing. Or you could potentially set up, what if you had a second site for the same client and then that had a separate Google Business Profile attached. So what I'm getting into is it could be considered a little bit, grayish black hat. But, if your goal is to try to create business, these are some strategies that would really work. Obviously, reviews are a big part about it. You need to improve you got to have a lot of content on your website. The strength of your website will absolutely influence the strength of your Google Business Profile. So it pulls the data and content from there. So if I know I'm trying to rank for like HVAC contractors in South Park, well, like I mentioned earlier, adding content about South Park on my website, and obviously not to be confused with the show, right? So making sure that we're building this relevant content. We could talk about Balboa Park. It doesn't all have to be like air conditioning content. It could be like, hey, Balboa Park was built in 1974, and it's been like a gathering area. There's been concerts there. Britney Spears performed. So I'm just like educating on the local area, right? So I'm establishing relevance to a specific spot on the map. And the way it works is it's kind of like when you throw a rock in the water where there's kind of ripples. So you're not going to just improve your ranking at this 4. This one will probably improve too. And this one it'll kind of hit this whole surrounding area. The strategy that I would use is I would not start with like the 20s. I would start with the 4s are only one spot away. So if I move this from a 13 to a 12, I'm not going to see any business increase. If I move this from a 4 to a 3, I'm going to see immediate business increase, right? So start with the ones for the harder ones. Start with the ones that are closer to 3s, and then kind of like move out. So as if I turn this 4 into a 3, this 13 might turn into a 10, right? And this 5 may turn into a 3, and if it doesn't, I'll focus on that one. And then you kind of start to pick up steam on this more and more, and you'll see these numbers change. And as I mentioned earlier, if you look at our, if you look at LeadSnap.com and go through there, you'll see a lot of people that have employed these strategies. You'll see some of these like here, before and after, right? Of basically taking the strategies that we teach and like watching and seeing the heat map change, right? So these strategies are really proven. They're really, really effective. And there's a ton of them. It would be hard to like dive into all these, but if you go in through our library here, so if I go in and choose all videos and then just choose like the Google Business Profile, there's 37 strategy videos on how to improve your ranking on this. And some of the stuff is some of what we went through today. But yeah, really powerful stuff there. Do you have custom fields on the opportunities pipeline? Yeah. So you can make through here, you can make whatever fields you want, and then these can be used throughout the system. So, so I can just make a new field like for whatever I want. And I guess we don't have the add button on this, so you might have to do it through here. So I can go through and I can associate that field with the company, and I can make whatever custom field I want, and then I can reference it throughout the application, right? So I could have, if I wanted like a text field or a checkbox, I could radio button, and then I could use the values of these custom fields to determine automations and move things around in the pipeline or trigger things like that. Does it integrate with Go High Level? I guess if you went through like Zapier or something like that, then you could have a connection. I assume Go High Level has an integration there to Zapier. So we integrate with Zapier and then a few other things. And then if you're using WordPress, there's like 15 or 20 of the most popular website builders and form builders that are in there, that basically all you have to do is install our plugin, and then that stuff instantly shows up. You don't need to change your form at all. So yeah, you guys, I don't know if there's any final questions. We're just over an hour now. And you know, I know that's the typical timing that you guys use. If you guys don't have any, I'll give you a couple more minutes. If you guys don't have any other questions, I just want to say thank you so much for checking this out. Like I said, this has been something I worked on for a long time. I've seen it make a huge difference for agencies. And, you know, we have a group. If any of you guys are interested, we have a LeadSnap group where we go through, and, you know, there's 1,800 people in here. So we teach strategies. We go through, try to solve like business problems in here. So this is a really active group. We had our first event in mid-February in South Florida. Went over really, really well. Brought in some amazing high-level speakers. This is a free group. You guys don't have to use the software. This is, a lot of it is just kind of like trying to build a community. It's you know, a lot of successful people in here sharing their strategies, trying to help other people. So anyone that wants to can jump in that. And we do a weekly call every Wednesday where we kind of just go through and try to work through problems that people may be stuck with. So yeah, that's the system. Cool. Thank you. Josh. Thank you, Josh, for adding that in there. But yeah, you guys, I really appreciate your time, and thank you guys so much. And I hope you guys can, you know, if it makes sense for you, I hope you guys check it out, and I hope it has the same impact that it has had for me, and you know, so many other businesses that I've seen take advantage of this. I would absolutely, whether you guys want to use our software or not, if you're struggling to close clients, if you're using one of those GeoGrid tools, take that strategy, that heat map for closing clients. It will absolutely change the game for you guys. It really shifts people into that buying decision in a great way. So you guys, thank you so much for your time, and you know, hope to see you guys in the group. Talk to you guys soon. Thank you.